What if the key to managing addiction isn't just quitting, but embracing a whole new mindset? Explore how Stoicism redefines the battle against addiction. Managing addiction like a Stoic. Stoics were always very interested in the intentions behind everyone's behavior, especially their own. Men should not enable worldly desires, such as those for wealth, fame, power, and beauty, to dictate how they live. We are slaves to the desires we are powerless over. According to a quote by Epictetus, addiction is what this is. Though you should be able to manage these desires, they ultimately take control of you. The idea of addiction. Two definitions of addiction are highlighted by the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The first is bad. It is the state of addiction, which is characterized by a compulsive, chronic, physiological or psychological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity that has negative effects on one's physical, psychological, or social well-being, and usually results in well-defined withdrawal symptoms such as nausea, tremors, anxiety, or irritability. The other, a great want to do, utilize, or indulge in something repeatedly, can be connected to both positive and negative things. Even though the second scenario exists, most of the time when we hear the word addiction, we don't think positively of it because excess in general can be harmful at some point. This bears no distinction from Stoicism. Addiction to any of the Stoic disciplines themselves can be harmful. It hurts those around the person, if not the individual themselves. The greatest minds on addiction. Seneca discusses intoxication in letter 83. He even cites Zeno, who declared that no one should confide a secret to a man intoxicated. We can conclude that Stoic thinkers don't trust someone who's under the effect of a mind-altering substance based on that letter and this observation. That conclusion stems from the fact that Stoics emphasize inner equilibrium and self-control, which is evident from their own definition of addiction. That is, something that an individual is powerless over. Would you give someone with a gambling addiction some money? I refer to a person who's unable to resist the temptation to place a wager. Importance of self-control. Stoics believed that self-control is the most effective form of control. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself, and only the educated are free." These quotations lead us to the conclusion that Stoics regard addiction as a type of enslavement, and we have to acknowledge that this is the case. They are led to do something damaging to themselves by something more powerful than the individual. People are constantly succumbing to their pleasures, despite the fact that this defies rationality. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, said, "Only people who cultivate self-control in themselves can bring positive change to others." That's how important self-control is for a Stoic. It's the main tool used to help us grow. Show empathy. Stoics can sympathize with someone who is addicted because they view addiction as a sickness and can identify with that individual. Friendship is a powerful remedy, according to Seneca. Ignorance of judgment is the key here. When faced with addiction, Stoics would fight a fierce battle to regain control over their actions. Being able to conquer oneself would enable one to avoid vices that bring pleasure but derail one's well-being. The exercise of self-control is the only path to freedom. For Stoics, freedom is essentially the same as it was for Kant. Being free does not mean having unlimited options. It's the capacity to live within constraints, exercising self-control and disobeying your gut. The Stoic idea of enslavement and freedom, addiction being one type of slavery, should be remembered. Victor Hugo, a renowned French novelist, once said that he would occasionally arrange money in front of him to remind himself who owned what. It would be interesting to discuss how Hugo resolved this quandary. All of us can identify one or more weaknesses that we need to overcome. The next concern is how to break bad behaviors. All people have addictions. Politicians love power, celebrities love the spotlight, business people love money, and so on. Consider it. And similarly to Victor Hugo, decide who owns what by placing it squarely in front of you. What Seneca taught about addictions in continual life. We must give up many things to which we are addicted, considering them to be good. Otherwise, courage will vanish, which should continually test itself. Greatness of soul will be lost, which can't stand out unless it disdains as petty what the mob regards as most desirable. Seneca, Moral Letters 74, 12b, 13. Control is the central principle of Stoicism. We only need to ignore the things we are powerless over and concentrate on the things we can manage. This seems quite straightforward in principle. But in actuality, addictions are the main way that life gets in the way. Addiction is by definition something outside of our control. If we are powerless over our actions, how can we strive toward cultivating a Stoic mindset? The Stoics forewarn us of addictions for this reason. Furthermore, they go beyond drug or alcohol addiction. There are numerous smaller but sneakier addictions. However, these are undoubtedly two of the most serious and deadly ones. We develop an addiction to junk food, social media, gaming, TV, or a variety of streaming services these days, our cell phones and so forth. Although these seemingly harmless activities only happen once in a while, they quickly become the main focus of our time and attention because they make us feel good. And we are always drawn to things that make us feel good because we mistake them for happiness. These feel-good things soften us, and we begin to conduct our lives trying to avoid the unpleasant things, as David Goggins would say. Seneca cautions us, though, not to allow these habits destroy who we are. In order to become more daring in life, we must actively seek out discomfort. Our soul can only rediscover its full glory in this way. To receive exclusive content, like and subscribe to our posts. This will ensure that you are the first to see our most recent changes. Together, let's go off on this adventure.